How is everyone doing? Why is my camera so dark? That's whatever. I want to talk about some comics that got in the mail today. An auction that happened last week that I received the goods for, that came with the AOK, and then a tournament that's coming up. So, let's do the comics first. Not feeling great today. It's been the whole week pretty much. Been pretty crummy, so if I'm not as energized, am I normally energized? I don't think so, but that's why. So these comics are from John on Instagram. So there's a lot of claim sales. Talked about them before. Where if you see something you like, claim it. I spend a fair amount of money on them. It's a great way to fill in the gaps in the collection. It is a horrible way to, like, if you're not organized, you might get a whole bunch of comics that you don't need. Just because you forgot that you need them. When you have as many comics as I do, it's easy to happen. Kind of a mixed bag. People who ship to you, some things are bag and boarded, like John's. Others are not. All right, so let's go through these. Got Midnight Suns, Darkhold, #1. Credible Herc. This is #112. He is coming to the Marvel Universe. Flashback, Elektra, -1. I tell you, man. All the flashbacks are -1. They don't belong with the comic set that they're in. They ruin the organization of your collection. -1s and then some zeros. It just throws everything off. Marvel Team Up, Spider-Man and Iron Man, #72. It's a very clean comic. It's very good. Whoa. Calm down, Spider-Man. Don't go running away. So far, all the comics that I've bought on IG have not been from smokers' homes that I can tell, so that's really great. I get weirder results ordering on eBay. Excalibur #8. Warlord Death Duel. Let me talk about this real quick. So, how do we want to put this? There's two different types of comics. There's newsprint, which this is newsprint. And there's what you call direct edition. See, it's written there, direct edition. In this era, they put a logo. It's the only Spider-Man face was Marvel or Spider-Man. You see people trying to say that newsprint is more valuable in the mid-80s through 60s. It is not. In fact, direct is probably more valuable. It should be more valuable. Newsstand or newsprint will always get a higher price during certain eras because they were treated very badly. Newsstands were not known to treat their books and newspapers and magazines very well because people take them off the rack, they paste through them, they put it back. So getting a high-rated newsstand is good no matter what. But it was only in the mid-80s that really direct sales, and direct sales include comic book shops, took off and kind of left newsprints in the dust. And so that's why today is very hard to find newsprint. That might actually change with DC looking to become more of a magazine competitor. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we have a original potty bagged Judgment Day. Once again, not super rare. None of these are rare. These are just gaps I'm trying to fill in. This was kind of fun. Saturday Night Live's Coneheads. You see the dad getting strangled by the head chief, or whatever he's called. Uncanny X-Men 310, not to be confused with X-Men. Blaze embossed foiled. Number 1. Comics in the 80s and 90s love foiling things. And then secondly, they loved embossing things. So if your character was fairly unknown, and you wanted people to buy it that normally wouldn't buy it, you'd foil it, you'd emboss it. This kind of neat. Team Up was a well-known series, mostly involving Spider-Man and some other organization, whether it's Hulk or X-Men or whatever, Avengers, whatever. This is the last one. It's number 150. And then they got dejected Spider-Man walking off in the background there. Kind of neat. Thor number 263. Thor, in my mind, has fought the weirdest things because he's cosmic, right? Venom 160. Venom is really hot right now. I think I don't have high hopes for the Sony Venom 2. I actually don't have high hopes for the Spider-Man 3 movie. I think that people aren't ready for Madame Web story or a multiverse story that revolves around Spider-Man. And I don't think Mephisto is going to do particularly well. It might be, and I think this was announced too, or not announced, but leaked. It's the kind of thing that leaks, that this is Sony's last stand on Marvel Comics. Mephisto is a very bad leg to stand on. It's got a long history and a cult following. Do you want to put all your eggs in a basket? There's a cult following. I don't know. They're about 20 years too late for the vampire craze. Venom 2. It's got Spider-Man in it. It's meant to have Carnage in it. Venom 1 or Venom, not very good. I'm sorry. It wasn't. But we're not stuck with Venom comics coming out of our butt. Doctor Strange doing the sideways cover, which I don't mind. 287, Iron Man. Atom Smasher. We should talk a little bit about major keys versus minor keys, because it comes up all the time in the IG community that if a key is associated with a comic, it should, bring in more, because the potential for that character is blah. The problem is that when your key is Atom Smasher, and there's 7,000 Marvel characters and 10,000 DC characters, keys mean nothing at all. You're diluting the language to nothing. Blackest Night, man, I can see he's got his zombie look going on. Black Lantern. It's kind of a cool cover. It's kind of neat. This is a trade back in French. Dan Slots and Ramos are involved, but it's got euros as the price. This is really cool. I did not buy this. So John must have thrown this in as a okay. Very happy to have this in my collection. I have a large collection of Italian, Turkish, and a few others. So I love this. I really love this. It's always a kick to see in the different countries who publishes it, and this is Panini Comics. We know Panini for the soccer cards, amongst other things. So that is awesome. That's really cool. So that's it. Usually it's more, but some controversial conversations in there. So sorry about that. Once again, not feeling well. Okay, so this is auction. In the IG comic family, there's a guy and named Dusty. Dusty's reputation in the group was very, very good. He supported a couple of charities, ASPCA and Smile. Smile does work for cleft palates, where the cleft top part of your palate has not sealed closed. And sometimes it's gaping open, and then that gap spreads to the front of your teeth and up your lip. It's not necessarily life-threatening. You are more prone to getting sick because we take so much crap into our mouths. And I'm not just talking about the food I eat, but when you breathe. And now you have an opening that goes directly into the pathways that don't get filtered through your nasal passages, which I talk through. That's why I sound so stupid. So two great causes. So Dusty lived in Virginia. Something happened, and he passed away. And it really shook the IG comic family to its core. A lot of the long timers, when I say a long time, like 2 years, 3 years, sought help from Dusty to get started and advice and all this kind of thing, because he was kind of established at the time. So there was an auction that was had by Big Head Comics, or Michael, and they put this up for auction. I won it with a bit of something. What was amazing to me was that Big Head Comics put the whole value into Smile, into the charity. So Michael didn't take out what he thought this was worth, and then put the rest in the charity, which is common practice for a lot of charities. He essentially donated this. So when I look at this and I think of the charity, I donated probably around $80, and Michael probably donated around 160, 170, 180, something like that. It's a beautiful comic. It's limited edition. The negative space drawings have become very popular. Yeah. And then Big Head Comics sent me AOK, which I'll talk about. So first, there was X-Men #1. This is Jim Lee's run. I have every single comic for all 150 or whatever issues that went with this. You can see right next to Wolverine's head is Jim Lee and Scott. Kind of sign off on it. This particular comic comes in two variants. One has a red X-Men text and a slightly flatter brown Wolverine outfit. And then there's this, which is the B, which is the gold text for X-Men and the redder Wolverine costume. So yeah, so if you're familiar with this joins 4 or 5 together, and you get one against Magneto shot of the X-Men. There's a lot of demand for this comic and the series, actually. The series of #1 for X-Men. I'm not sure why, to be honest. They were a lot printed. Jim Lee has gone on to become, CEO, whatever it is, of DC. So he is still signing things. He's still creating, both for DC and independent. So I don't know why there's so much demand. My guess is that there was the X-Men animation series that came out about around the same time. And so this became a natural pairing with that comic, with that cartoon. Awesome. The fact that it's the B one is amazing. But to get anything in an AOK, which is a care package, it's great. Team X and Team 7. Interesting comic. I own this. So this is Team 7's first appearance on an Image title. And then it's also Team X's first appearance. Team X was made up for this issue. Wolverine, definitely not his first appearance, but the other 3 members, forget who they are. It's their first issue. Team 7, it's their first issues across the board. Team 7 went on to have their own comic line and a lot of crossovers. Team 7 is kind of like a military team. So Team X was Logan, Creed, North, and Wrath. And then Team 7 was Lynch, Cray, Dane, Cash, and Chang. And I don't know. Yeah. So Cole Cash went on to become Grifter. And now Grifter was part of the purchase, or part of the signing over when Jim Lee signed over Wildstorm to DC. Grifter went with. And so, yeah. So that's why you might be more familiar with Grifter. He's got the red flag cover over the face, blonde hair. He's in a secondary story last week on one of the DC Future titles. This is an Omega Red story from the Weapon X series. It's good. It's kind of fun as a trade back, even though there weren't any comics that made it up of it. It's just one story. And then we have this guy, Usagi Yojimbo. It's a one-shot ash can. It's a smaller size. It's for Halloween Comic Fest, so it would have been free. These are hard to find and not hard to find all at the same time. Sometimes comic shops write out them really fast, and other times they just sit on the shelf. This particular one I did not have. I have most of the Usagi series. There's like 7 different volumes. I have most of them. This is really cool. This is definitely going into the personal collection. So what ash cans are is they're a smaller form comic, and it's usually about 4 to 6 pages, somewhere in there. And it's basically an intro or like part of a story leading up to a comic coming up. And so for Free Comic Book Day and Halloween Comic Fest, a lot of people will do that to get new readers. Okay, so let's really quick talk about the tournament. So I have got next to me 7 blind boxes. I'm waiting on another 13. We will then do groups of 4, and I'll open the blind boxes, I'll review them, and I'll be quite critical. Because that's what I do best. This will be not this weekend, but next weekend. I'll review it. We'll pick a winner. I'll pick a winner out of the 4 different groups. And then those 4 will go against each other. And we'll go into further detail on each comic, on each blind box. And then the final will be just 2 blind boxes, and we'll go into even more detail there. So that's a tournament of blind boxes. I can't say I'm going to do this yearly. It was expensive. It's around $100 a blind box, and I paid shipping, so that ended up being, $2,400 probably. So I don't know that I'll do it again, but it's gonna be a heck of a ride. The winner gets this. It's probably valued at its number, $252. 9.6. It's actually a beautiful copy. I found this in a box of comics, and it was just sitting there in perfect condition. So at the time, I wanted to do a comparison of CGC versus CBS, and so I used a bunch of different comics, and this was one of the CGCs. So very cool. Yep. Okay, that's it, I think. So I hope you didn't completely fall asleep going through this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, but you're probably not watching this if you haven't subscribed. Have a good time everyone. Bye.